let's do a new technique challenge. This challenge is to create this shape for your photos in the foreground of your layout. You'll see I have it on top of a background photo and the journaling kind of contours over it. However, you can use this technique in whatever way you are inspired. I'm anxious to see your creativity with this technique. There's so many ways that you could utilize it. So let's learn how you can make this for yourself. I'm going to go ahead and turn off that background layer, and let's make a new layer to work from. I've already imported 3 photos that we're going to work with, and they're here in these layers. Activate your rectangular marquee tool and draw a selection. It doesn't really matter, however you visualize it. And the foreground background color doesn't really matter. We're just going to grab the paint bucket tool and click within that selection to fill it up. Hit Control D on your keyboard to deselect, and now we have a rectangular shape on the computer. I'm actually going to go ahead and make it black so that it's more visible for the purposes of this tutorial. Now we want to take this shape and we want to make it that curved shape. In order to do that, you go to the Filter drop-down menu, Distort, and then Shear. And you'll get this fun little box. When it comes up, it's going to be a straight line like this. And you're going to have a preview, and I have Wrap Around selected. And you can simply grab this little box in the middle and move it, and as you move it you're going to see your preview. So you can move it either direction. You could even do really wild stuff with it, but for the purposes of this technique challenge, we're going to just put it slightly to the right or left, depending on your layout, of the center line to make this curved shape, and click OK. You're going to notice then this shape turns into a curved shape. Now the next thing is to fill this. This is a template that we have just made, and there are several ways you can fill it. I'm going to show you 2 of them. There are more ways than this, so just use your imagination. I have these 3 flower photos, and I can simply click on, I made them all visible. I'm going to click on each of the layers and hit Control G on all 3 of the layers, and they are all now grouped with the template layer. So then I can simply move them around. Let's put this one up here, and this one in the center, and this one here. Just kind of scoot them around. I'm not going to take a lot of time with it. Certainly you can resize them as needed until they all fill the space nicely. So you can see that this is a very quick and unique technique that you can use. Let's go ahead and hit undo and ungroup all those. There we go. And I'm going to make them invisible again. Let's do something a little different with the template. Now you can, of course, remember, use your grid lines to make everything exact, but for the purposes of making this tutorial quick, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to freehand it. I'm going to grab my rectangular marquee tool and select an area in the center of my template, and with the template layer as the active layer, I'm going to hit Control J. Let's make this first template layer invisible so you can see what I've got. I've got a middle section of the template. What I want to do now is make the 2 end sections of the template. So I'm going to duplicate this template layer. I'm going to hold down my Control key and click on the icon in the layers palette, and now you can see marching ants where that layer is. With this first copy of the template active. I'm going to hit delete on my keyboard, and you can see here in the thumbnail that I've actually deleted the middle section. I'm going to make this other template active, hit delete, and you can see I've deleted the middle section of it. And that middle section is exactly like this layer. Hit Control D to deselect. I'm going to go ahead and make 2 of these layers invisible. Grab my rectangular marquee tool. I'm going to make this top layer the active layer, and I made a selection of the top section, and I'm going to hit delete. Come on, delete. Let's try it again. Oh, it's not visible. There we go. Now it worked. I'm going to hit Control D to deselect, and now my bottom layer is the active layer. I'm going to select the bottom section and delete it. Control D. So on this layer, I now have the top portion of my template. The next layer, I have the bottom portion of my template, and on the middle layer, I have the middle section of my template, and if I make them all visible, you can see they make one template together. Now you can move these photos. Let's see, I think I had that one on the bottom and that one in the middle and that one on here, and just like you would fill a template that you download from the internet, I'm going to hit Control G on each of the photo layers and make them visible also. And then I'm going to make sure I'm on my move tool, and I'm going to move these into position. Of course, you can resize them each individually. And once you get them where you want them, I'm going to right click on the flower layers and choose merge down, and then merge down and merge down on this one. Now each of those flower photos are cut into individual sections. At this point you can add, let's do what, about 7 pixels? That's not enough. Edit, stroke, let's try about 20. Let's go way up. And it might be helpful if I threw a black background on here so we can see what we're doing. And we can add a stroke to each layer. Oh, I already added one to that. Well, it's I don't know what I've done here. This is that, oh, I have black as my foreground color. Don't you love it when you can hit that undo button? We've already done this layer. Now I'm going to do this layer. Let's make white our foreground color. Yes, I too goof and have to figure out what I did wrong and hit the back button. So now I have a stroke added to each of those layers. There we go. And you can see it makes a really effective layout. Now you can add drop shadows to these, each individual layer if you wanted. Or, did I get one on the top layer? Or, let me undo those. You could actually merge these down so they are one piece together. And actually, I think this would work better if we had a different color for the background layer. So I'm going to make the background layer a different color. Ah! I'm sorry, that don't work. Way too bright to go with my photos. There we go. And then at that point, you can, now that this is one layer, apply a drop shadow to all 3 of them at the same time. And you can see it all coming together now. And so there are a variety of options and things that you can do to create these. And hey, I kind of like the way that looks. Not too bad for doing something too fast. Maybe I should make a layout with it. And so let's go back, show you this original layout again as we part, and I look forward to seeing the things that you can do with this technique.